To Abracadabra, create what you speak. I'm iLan Azoulai. Welcome. Sound is the ultimate medicine for the body and soul. Welcome to Abracadabra, create what you speak. I'm iLan Azoulai, spiritual mentor and a sound therapist for you who are ready to reclaim your power, to remember your gifts, to remember your divine gifts and to share to the world. The sound frequencies is our essence, is what we're made out of. Everything is a sound, everything is a frequency. So because there is no opening tone through this platform, so this is the opening tone. The third eye chakra. We'll talk about that. Welcome to Abracadabra. I'm iLan Azoulai. Welcome that you are here. So happy to see you here. Well, I can sense who is here and I can see who is here. It's like a walkie-talkie. Yeah, I see who is here one at a time. And this program, Abracadabra, is an empowerment program. And it is here to be of service, to bring tools and to bring concepts and ideas that are based in Judaism and Kabbalah and downloads and spirituality, everything that has to do with the spirit realm. Everything that is here has a spiritual reason and cause. And so it is a program to encourage you. If you are here, you're supposed to be here. If you are here, something, you can see it as a coincidence. You swiped your pages and you landed on this page, or any other reason, but you are here. The reason you are here is because you're not over there. So I want to start with something that has been a pillar in coming into this work and coming into this place of abundance and this place of wonderfulness, of wonder. And I'll be talking about wonder. And it is the utterance. והריני מתחייב ומקבל על עצמי את מצוות עשה של ואהבת לרעך כמוך. I hereby accept on myself the due commandment or the utterance of love your neighbor, your friend, your partner, your gardener, anybody in the same way that you express love to yourself. And I want to focus on that again. Every so often I go into this explanation, and I feel that today, especially because it's Purim, it's the holiday of a Jewish holiday of Purim, where it is in the outside concept, in the physical concept, it's similar to Halloween, where people get dressed up, and but the reasons are completely different. But I want to focus on ואהבת לרעך כמוך for a few minutes. This sentence, ואהבת לרעך כמוך, love your neighbor, your friend, as the same way that you love yourself. That is the outside frame of that sentence. But it divides into three sections. Okay, there is love your neighbor like yourself, right? Love your neighbor like yourself. But the focus first is on ourselves, right? If you think about that. Many would focus, this is love. What is love? How to be in love, how to offer love, how to be in that space, in that energetic space that can go out to the world and be to the world. But the focus first is in ourselves. And it is love, but it's first to ourselves. And it's first to ourselves to to recognize who we are. And it takes a long time, right? People ask me how old you are, and I say I'm 2 years old with 50 years of experience, because it takes really the experience. Is what completes the experience. The experience itself is what's complete the experience, but the experience is comprised of two sections: of the theoretical and the practical, the knowing and the understanding. And the understanding is the integration of everything that we conceive, everything that we perceive, everything that we believe in, and so everything that we believe in. Eventually, if we don't experience that, it's like going to a restaurant and looking at the menu and knowing and looking at this dish and saying, "Wow, I love this curry. I know this curry with this sauce and these ingredients, everything that makes it for a perfect dish." But I haven't tried it yet, so I haven't eaten it yet, and so when I taste it, then I can complete the experience. This is how it is everything here. We see something, we know something, and many times I had this experience of understanding something in the noetic sense, in my head, in getting it. I'm a lot in my head, and it is really this uh, understanding that the longest journey that I will ever do is 18 inches from here to here. Right? It's getting out of this head. So the understanding, it's like going into a restaurant, looking at the menu, understanding what needs to be done, but we haven't tasted the dish yet. And this is exactly what it is, and in this plane and in relation to that sentence. It is first to experience ourselves, and ourselves is going through all these journeys, through this journey with all these stories of peeling off layers, to discover our voice, to discover what I'm here to do. What are you here to do? What are you here to share? And how to share that? I like my purple body. I love purple. I love pink too. It's wonderful. Red and white, the masculine and the feminine. It's this pink energy. Anyway, so loving ourselves, coming to a place of love to ourselves, understanding the love, understanding what it is love, and how do I manifest that within my life. Now, one would say, well, so if you don't love yourself, you can't give to others. And I disagree to that. And because here's the thing. Rabbi Nachman said, if you know one letter, actually also Rabbi Schneerson of Chabad said, if you know one letter, you need to teach that. One letter. So if you're here and you feel any kind of insecurity about, oh, how can I talk to other people, or how can I say this or that when I'm myself? I don't feel like I'm in complete space. I don't feel like I'm doing what I want to do, and this is an illusion, really, because we're really never complete. Once we're complete, we're out of here. Bye bye, taking the last train home, right? Once we complete our mission, once we complete the purpose of our soul, the purpose of being here, all that has to do everything with it, all the ins and outs, all the disappointments, right? Because we have expectations, but that's a whole different conversation. But coming to all these places, even we have one letter, if you learned one thing, this is something that it is for you to share. It's for you to share because you have this thing that somebody else doesn't have yet, until you show up. And when you show up, then that person will have what that person needs to have. And then when we come together, how many times do we meet and you have the perfect synchronization? Everything happened right in time. Everything happened right in that moment. And I call it the sync points of our synchronicities. When we come together and it's right, we feel that. Now, when do we feel that usually? We feel that usually when everything is hunky-dory. Oh, we've met. Oh, this is great. We're going into a project together. We're doing all kind of things together. We have these emotions. We have these feelings or whatever. Everything is falling. And so we feel everything is falling together. Everything is coming together perfectly as orchestrated. But what happens when things are not going as we expect or as I expect them to go? Does that mean that it's not working as planned? Does that mean that it's not working to the best of my own journey? Those are exactly, I think these are the most dominant parts of our journey, when the things that do not go as we hoped or as we planned, these are the core uh, um, pillars of our relationship to something, a relationship to you, my relationship to this concept, my relationship to money, my relationship to traveling, it's not the traveling, it's not the money, so it's the relationship, so that affects that. So when we come to look at ourselves, how can I love myself and say, oh wait, but this area in my life, I'm really not happy, so I'm not going to talk about this because there's nothing to talk about, because I am saying the word of unhappy, right? Unhappy, right? Every time I hit this button on the record, all my systems go dry. We're going to Sahara. We're going to the desert. You go up. You want to talk? Go, be talking, and we're just going to dry you up. So I brought this keg of water. So loving ourselves, one of the tools that is it's more of an understanding than a tool. It's more of an understanding than a tool to be gentle with ourselves. I hear this word, be gentle with yourself, be gentle with yourself, be gentle with yourself, be gentle with yourself. You hear the Jewish word, ay, 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 be gentle with yourself, and you beat yourself up. One of the things is to understand that what happened 5 years ago happened 5 years ago. What happened 1 year ago happened 1 year ago. What happened yesterday happened yesterday. And why do I say that? Because 5 years ago, you were not here. And 5 years ago, you did not go through the understandings, the pain, the suffering, the joy, the disappointment, understanding that when you put an expectation, the chances of getting disappointments are more than 50%. Are more than 50% when we put an expectation. Now, I'm not talking about let's say you have a work contract and you have a contract with somebody. So you have a business expectation. That is something that is also can be altered because of unexpected things. But is when we put expectations of somebody else, when we expect our story, our understanding to be transformed or to be transmitted through the second person through in front of us. For example, I'm afraid to say something, maybe my partner will react this or that or this way. So we don't say this. But I don't say that because just I think what the other person will say. So based on my past experiences, I'm not going to say something because I think that this what may happen. Not understanding that everything that I see through my eyes, everything that you see through your eyes happens only in your head. Anywhere else, no. Even colors. Colors have frequency. Everything has a frequency. There's these pictures where you see a shoe that is pink and gray, and other people will see it as yellow and blue, right? Or green. Right mind people, left mind people. So everything that we see through these physical eyes happens only in our head. So when I am looking at what happened 5 years ago, I didn't have the lessons. I did not have all the understandings, all the expectations, all the sadness, all the beauty, all the joy that I have today. So what am I doing? I'm actually judging myself 5 years ago based on the eyes on my perception of today. And that is something that took me a while to understand, meaning I knew it here. It took me a while to get it in here, to synergize, to integrate this whole knowledge or knowing, noetic sense. I get a lot of downloads, and these downloads are giving me information that sometimes I don't have the understanding of it. That is from the sentence Na'aseh v'nishma. Na'aseh v'nishma. So Na'aseh v'nishma, a very associated sentence with Judaism, is "will do," and the word says "will do" and "will listen," but it's really "will do" and "will understand," because there are many things that we do. Ask yourself how many times you do something and you really don't know why you're doing, but you're doing it. Tamara said, yes, with water. Water is the same thing. It's a different concept, but it shows how our words affect our field. And this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Our relational field, flipping the energy. We're in Purim now. Well, we just had Purim a couple of days ago, and I'll talk about this holiday. So loving ourselves starts with our perception, starts with our how we perceive something. When we perceive something, then we go on to believe that. Right? There was this funny video that I put about social media that social media, I mean, all the internet, the social media, the media just in general is so saturated. I think we have to invent a new word for saturation, for this kind of exsaturation. There you go, exsaturation. So there is an exsaturation of information. And because of that, there is also more chances of fraud and lies and stories to manipulate and to take our attention from here to put it here. And this is what is happening. So how do we believe in something? So there was this funny video I put up on my wall about believing something blindly. Back to ourselves. Love yourself, your neighbor, love your neighbor like you express love to yourself. So to ourselves first. It starts by being gentle, and that's what's being gentle. That's part of what being gentle. Looking at what happened 5 years ago with the eyes to bring ourselves through. Remember, how were we 5 years ago? How were we 10 years ago? How were we a year ago? What we saw and what we understood, what I saw and I understood at that time, I believed it because that's how I perceived it, because that was a condition that came from my old patterns, from wounds. So everything starts with a wound. We're meeting through wounds. We come to this world through a wound. Through the womb already, we are experiencing wounds. Imagine a surrogate mother. Imagine the child that is in that belly of that woman. The child already feels the separation, the abandonment, the baby, the before baby, the feed. Everything is already experiencing that energy. That energy of separation, that energy of alienation. And that's part of that journey, that baby's journey, the part of that mom's journey. So connecting to ourselves is looking at ourselves. One aspect is looking at what happened 5 years ago with the eyes that we had 5 years ago. Now, another thing about this sentence, it doesn't say love your neighbor like yourself in Hebrew. It says love to your neighbor like you love yourself, or like you express love to yourself. And this is very interesting, because how can you really love somebody from the place of giving unconditionally, or at least as much as possible in this human form and shape? But it is when I want the best for that person. When somebody calls me, when a client calls me, when a friend calls me and tells me and I see their progress, and I see how they're blooming and coming out and showing their light to the world. This is a joy. This is happiness. This is joy to see how that person is coming up. How are you expressing yourself? And we are healing through one another. We're constantly growing. If somebody's talking, or somebody's teaching, or somebody's giving a class, they need a class maybe in a different manner than the listener, but we're all benefiting. When I work with Tibetan bowls, and this is how I started the program today, with the third eye chakra bowl, and that is really to open our perception. Really, it has to do with our perception, with how we look at things. Why did I say that? When we are in certain energies, well, let me track myself back. Love to your friend. Love to, meaning I want the best thing for that person. I want the best thing for that person. I want that you will show your gifts to the world. And this helps in perceiving. Oh, now I remember. When I work with these bowls, I'm getting the healing just like you. With my story, with my expression, with my understanding, and with my experience of the sound. And each body has a different need for different frequencies. But this particular frequency, these particular frequencies, that's the difference between a Tibetan bowl and a crystal bowl. Tibetan bowl has overtones and it has so many other frequencies that are omitted, that are reflecting and affecting different parts of our body, our energetic body and our physical body. So, love too. I want the best for you, just like I want the best for me. That's for that. That's for that sentence. And so today, because we're just past Purim, and if you're here and you don't know, what Purim is, just the story is that there was this king Ahasuerus, that it was in Iran, in Persia, that he had a prime minister that was an anti-Semite, and he wanted to annihilate Jews. Not just that you don't practice, but just annihilation of the essence, right? And he created a whole scheme so he can eventually kill Mordechai, who was a prominent Jew, part of the Sanhedrin, part of the court of law, of the rabbinical court of law, that would not bow down to him. And one night, the king got his wife killed. Well, actually, his wife got herself killed. He killed her because he was drunk. She didn't come to him, and off with her head. And I know it sounds horrible, but I just thought about Alice in Wonderland. You know, when the queen was like, "Off with her head." Anyway, so we got her off, and then the niece of Mordechai, Esther, or there are different names and different people that are referring to this in a different fashion. But Esther, she was very pretty, and she was given to Ahasuerus, to the king. She was ushered and given, and everything worked, was orchestrated nicely. Even so that the prime minister eventually he prepared a gallows to hang Mordechai, and he and his 10 sons were eventually hung on these gallows. So since then, there is a celebration. The difference in these miracles, I mean, we're looking at miracles that happened also in Egypt, and going out of Egypt, and the parting of the sea, or all these supernatural miracles. Everything that happened in Shushan, in Iran, in Paras, happened naturally, happened with the flow of nature, happened with, oh, Haman said this to her, and he got himself killed, and she got herself killed, and then oops, Esther happened to be at the same place at the same time, at the same moment, the right time, at the right moment, to be there and to be selected and to be looked upon and to be admired and all this. And Haman got himself killed on the same tree that he wanted to hang Mordechai. So it's like, karma, right? Karma. Well, we can say karma, but what is karma, right? It's all part of a scheme, part of a plan. And when we take a route, that route has a predestined direction. We can get off that route, go somewhere else, which also has its own possible direction. So they're all everything got orchestrated that way. So everything was done naturally. So Purim, the word Pur, comes from the word luck. No, comes from the words luck, but it is not luck. It is more destiny. It is destiny, and Purim is. That's why there is in Purim everything. Flip the energy. This is the time of flipping the energy. This time, flipping the energy, and everything eventually is for the good of our journey. Every single ounce, every single breath, every breath you take is a part of the plan. It's a part of the journey. It's part of your journey, right? So everything happens for the good of your journey. My initial concept of working with anybody or doing any of these programs is the basic understanding, not just the knowledge, but the basic understanding that everything physical in this realm, everything that we see or everything that we're experiencing here has a spiritual reason and cause. The spiritual, think about it like an umbrella. Think about it like the driver in the car. The car is our body, the driver is our soul. The car is completely functional, but it won't move without that life force, without that energy that is pushing us, that is creating all these kind of things with the tools. These are the tools, the hands, the head, all these. This is my head, meaning I'm not the head. This is my head. This is my hand. I'm not the hand, right? So it is everything that is included in that. And so, okay. So where was I? I sometimes get tracked. You see, there is a line, and sometimes I go on a branch, and the branch goes out. So everything that we have here in this physical realm has a spiritual reasoning. So everything eventually works to our own good of our own journey. If we're looking spiritually, we're coming here for for our soul elevation, for our vibrational quality to rise up. Every time we're learning something, every time we come here, we're learning something. We're learning the the power of thought, the power of intention. We're learning how to, and every generation is different. 100, 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, what we're talking about today would probably get you on the witch hunt, and you probably be witch hunted, or you'll be hunted. I know I have been. I know others in my life that in past lives were different different entities and were hunted. So it is really a cumulative experience. I call this a cumulative experience. Our experience in this existence. The soul is cumulative. So every experience that we have is ingrained in our soul, but we just don't remember because the memory is relational. Our memory is here. It's like every time we go. It's like when we go to sleep. Think about when we go to sleep. We go to sleep, we have what we have from yesterday. We remember what happened yesterday, the day before, how we acted, how we behaved. But when we go to sleep, we're pressing kind of a reset button on yesterday, and now we're starting with a new possibility, with a new opportunity. What are the opportunities and the possibilities that exist in every day's waking moments? Or which one is the waking moments? When we're asleep, or when we think we're dreaming, or is the other way around? That's fascinating. If anybody experienced lucid dreaming or this kind of dreaming, please share. So it is these understanding that we understand that everything is happening for the good of our journey. Every person that we meet, especially those who we don't get along with very well, those are our best teachers. I've had some experience. Everybody had experiences that are, some are harder than what appears to be harder than the others. But everybody has these experiences that are shaping experiences. Some of them go through when they're 20, some of them go through when they're 30, sometimes we go through when they're 40s and then 50s, and we keep on and on and on and on. And we learn. So what do we do when we talk to other people? We add from our teaching, we add from our experiences to share with the other person every time we go by. So you see, we are teaching one another, we are encouraging one another as we go along. And that is the thing. So we grow together. So Purim, back. Purim. So Purim comes from the word luck or destiny. And everything is opposite, because in Purim what happened is the irony that everything was flipped around. Everything just was flipped around. And what was supposed to be A became B. What was supposed to become was C became A. And so everything was flipped around. And it says that, by the way, it's not a by the way. It's a very big thing. You know, in Judaism and in other religions, I know in Catholicism, it's all this guilt, right? There's this guilt, hey, right? And it became like a trademark. You know, it became like a trademark. Oh, you're Jew. Yeah, I suffer. You're Jew. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, it's like suffering is the thing. But you don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer to get to an open place, to get to a place where you can accept, to get to a place where you see things in or closer to how they are than what we perceived to be 5 years ago. Right, so it is this place of experiencing that. And so So Purim, everything turned around, everything flipped around. It's like flipping the energy. And this is what it is about, flipping the energy. Flipping the energy. And Kabbalistically, this time has, it can be tied to astrology, it can be tied to different things. And coincidentally or not, Purim is around this time, this energetic time. All the holidays in Judaism, I notice they're beautifully aligned to how everything else works astrologically and energetically, what's happening in the world. It's for everyone. Judaism is for everyone. It is not only for Jews. All right? Really, it is for everyone to learn. The Torah is for everyone to look, everyone to learn, everyone to experience. And so flipping the energy. And I was telling the story of Purim, right? So Achashverosh selected Esther. Now, I showed it on Friday, but I don't have it here. I showed it on Fridays. In Purim, we eat Hamentashens, or Oznei Haman. Where we were told, I remember as a kid, we were told that we're eating the ears of Haman. We're eating the ears of this guy that wanted to kill us, right? Why do I want to eat something that is reminding me of that Pinocchio? I don't want to. And you know, I've discovered over time it just didn't sit right with me. And this is my thing, and I said it on Friday. Who actually, if you know the story of Purim, who actually saved the Jews? Definitely wasn't Haman, because he wanted to kill. And Mordechai was the instigator. He created a lot of problems, quote unquote, for Haman. But the one who manipulated and talked to the king and brought about the Haman getting hung and everything was Esther, was the feminine, was the woman. You know, all these thousands of years of patriarchy, all these thousands of years. Why it's like that? I don't know. I wasn't there, or if I was there, I don't remember, because I had the reset button. But all these the years of patriarchy, you know, it's like I believe that everything, you know, it's like everything is for the good of the reason, for the good of the journey. Everything had to be there this way. But there was a fear. There was a fear, and there still is a fear. There is still a fear of the feminine, even from women themselves. I work a lot with women, and women that have come to a complete breakdown, either because of relationship or something, or some kind of a trauma. And it is all about relationships. I'm not necessarily talking about relationships between one and the other, but our relation to something. So even from the feminine standpoint, we've been so conditioned, because the oppression of the male, not masculinity as much as the male figure, the oppression and everything that I heard many times, and I've used it many times, that women are manipulative. Well, we all are, really. I mean, you know, if you think about that, if we're going up online here, you know, we are. I am at times showing things that I want to show. I don't show you things that I don't want to show. I don't need to show what I'm doing in that room. That's why I'm sitting here. So in a way, we're all kind of. Manipulation has a negative connotation because it is done without the consent of the manipulatee, and with the knowledge of the one that is manipulating, that is doing something against, he or she are doing something against that other person will. So I'm using certain words, understanding that my agenda is to get that person to say something. So that's kind of a manipulation. But many times when we are in a certain situation, I know when I've been in previous relationships, I was in certain situation. I believed my cause. I believed my way. I was steadfast about my way and my whatever. So sometimes it's not done consciously. All right. So flipping all this is, you know, it's easier said than done, because we are going through all these changes, and when we are immersed in an experience, sometimes it is overtaking, it's consuming us to believe that this is really the reality, what is happening. So in Purim, it is flipping that energy. And who brought that? The feminine. And I believe that there's so much fear, that there is so much manipulation and fear from the from the male, that you have to keep the female or the woman in a confined box. It's pure fear. It's pure fear from understanding that a woman, a woman is here in this world more more perfect than perfect of in comparison to the men. That's in Judaism and in Kabbalah and in other places. The woman has an extra bina, has an extra understanding. If we look at the tree of life, we have Keter, Chokhmah, we have Keter, knowledge and wisdom and understanding. And so the understanding part is what a woman has extra. In Judaism, a woman does a bat mitzvah, a coming of age, a year before the boy does. There are so many things that a woman is not, quote unquote, required to do according to certain rules and certain laws because of her spiritual elevation. Her spiritual level is higher than the male. And so there is a fear. There is a fear of the ego, right? There is a fear of this overtaking, this, oh, you're better than me. And that is why there is this oppression for years and years and years and thousands of years. And now we're starting to see, I mean, we are in the midst of it, this flip of the energy, this energy flip that it goes from this masculine to the feminine. But what is happening is just like a paper. When I do an ear, when we read a book, sometimes we put this ears, right? So if I want it to be straight, it's not enough if I just do this. I actually have to go the other way around, right? And now it's kind of straight, but it's more straight than it was before, right? And this is what is happening. This is what I feel is happening. Things are shifting to the other side, and there is this fear. All what is happening in the world now, this coronic era, everything, this is all fear tactics. And you know what is the number one catalyst to transmit this virus is the fear hormone. Is the fear hormone and growth hormone, but the fear more than anything. It's the fear that animals release this adrenaline that they release into the meat when they sense fear, when they're being taken to be slaughtered. So they sense this and they send it into the meat. If you eat meat, maybe you remember some times that you ate a piece of meat and it was very chewy, very chunky, was not edible really. That is a sign that there was these hormones released into this meat. This is the same fear that we feel when we go into our head. There is this poem of Hafiz. Hafiz was a student of Rumi, a Sufi poet, and he said, "How did the rose ever show its beauty to the world? Open up and show its beauty to the world. It needed the encouragement of light shone upon it. Otherwise, we remain all too frightened." So we need the encouragement, not the warmth, but the encouragement. The encouragement to show your gifts, the encouragement to believe in yourself, the encouragement to know that you are very good enough to do anything that you choose to do. And when you choose to do, you can manifest that. And you can manifest that, and our choices and the resolution of our choices all stems up from the place that we inhabit within ourselves. And so we choose these things. And so back to Purim and the feminine. This is the fear. And so the story is not commemorating Esther. The story is not commemorating Esther. It commemorates, Mordechai, and let's eat the ear of Haman. Well, let me tell you, the ear of Haman, well, you know what? Well, I'm not going to get that, but it's a triangle cookie, right? Well, heart. No, it's a triangle cookie, right? So the sign of femininity, right? The triangle, the feminine. It's filled with poppy seeds jam, the traditional one. So I don't believe that we are eating to commemorate Haman. Not at all. Although it's being said, but we're eating to embrace and to embody the feminine that is in each one of us, because we all start from the feminine. The feminine gives the life. The feminine creates. Earth is feminine, is referred to also as feminine. This ball of energy, this ball of beauty, this ball of harmony. We receive this harmony, this ball in complete harmony. And we are the cacophony of this symphony. You know, I can talk until I'm blue in the face, and I never get blue in the face. So if you have any question, if you're joining just now, I'm iLan Azoulai. This is Abracadabra, Create What You Speak, an empowerment program for you to encourage you to shine your gifts. Abracadabra. This is exactly what it is. Abracadabra in Aramaic means literally I create as I speak. As I speak, meaning what I speak as it is happening. We're creating this energy field. This, and I want to talk about this. The next is the relational field. The energy field is a relational field. It is not about you. It is not about me. It is not about her. It's not about them. It is about what we connect between us. Is the field of energy, this relationship energy, and the relational between me and you, our relationship. And this is another concept to understand that is very very fundamental. Many times we get upset with something that happened, or we have a trigger. No, I don't want to go here because it doesn't do good to me, and so forth, and all these kind of things. But why is that? Why? Because we have a pre-existing condition, a pre-existing state that changed my perception and change my belief, therefore change my belief about certain things. Let's say, I remember when I lived in Boston. I lived in Boston for 14 years, and when I went through my first divorce, out of 7, I went. No, I'm just kidding. Out of 2, I went through a withdrawal period, coming to see my children. So I would live in Boston, and I would come to see my children. They were living in Kansas City. And every time the airplane would just hover around Kansas City, or I would hear somebody talking about Kansas City, or my inside would flip in and out. It was like I became like an engine of a Citroen car, of these French cars, where I love that their engine is flipped upside down. It's like the carburetor is here, this is there, the engine is here, everything is upside down. That's how I felt. It's like completely flipped over. And it was my reaction to my relationship to the word of Kansas City, or to that place. It is not about that place. And this is what happens to each one of us when we are facing something that we either have a difficulty with, or we even have great experience with. No need to be in a negative space, but it's just like, even we have a best experience. Why do we have a best experience? Because we express ourselves, because we are able to say who we are, because we're able to live in the place where we want to live in. So this is also our relationship, our relational field between me and that space. Money. That afterward, by the way, the story with Kansas City, every time I would go to see my children, so I would feel really bad with that place. I wouldn't feel, because of my traumatic experience at that time while I was in Kansas City. But once that ended, once that my kids moved out, I was in California, and I would still go to Kansas City, even when they were still in that place in Kansas City, things have shifted, because I realized it was my relationship to that place. It wasn't that place. When I drove cross country, I loved driving through the places that I was. It was just a place with memories that are part of my film strip. But that's it. So it is everything. It is about our relationship to something. It's never about that something. It's never about that something. And so in today's society where men are conditioned by women and women are conditioned by men, and they are, oh, you do this, oh, you said this, therefore we're not going to do that. I mean, there's all this. It is the relationship that between us and that person, between us and the concept of that person. So many, not many, but some women that I encountered, clients or otherwise, have had or still have traumas with men, and many would experience that. Many have experienced that. And so what happened is there is no healing. When there is no healing for that wound, and you go to the opposite side of that spectrum, and there is no healing, then there is resentment. If we look at a circle as a symbol, which was always symbol of wholeness, if you look at half of the circle, if we take half of the circle as a trauma, and the other half is healing. And so for the picture to be whole, for the experience to be complete and healed, you have to have the trauma and you have to have the healing. And the healing can manifest in different ways. But when you don't have the healing and you just only have the trauma, it starts trying to fix itself, to create something in its we start to create something in our own head that is trying to fix, trying to give reasons, and then just gets more complicated and more complex. And then we are going into groups that are, let's say, support groups for women that are ran by many times women. And some of these women that I know that I've experienced that run these groups also don't have healing with men. So there is no healing. There is no going through that pain, going through seeing what place did you inhabit within yourself when you made a certain choice. What are the traumas? What are the traumas that you had when you were a child? That is really, really, that's where it comes to. What do we think many times when we're getting older, right? We're thinking about where we were and the hobbies that we love doing and things that we love doing, and small things like that. And talking about wonder, being wondrous, being in a place where it's all wonder, with no preconceived notions, with no filters that were before. And so we go to these places, and when there is no healing, there is just an exaggeration or an exaggeration of that wound. Because now we're using this wound to, quote unquote, battle that fear that we have with men. No, women are here to rule. Women are the goddesses. Women are here to do this and to do this. Recognizing your gift is not at the expense of somebody else. Never. I've been to that movie before. The actor dies at the end with a shot in between the eyes. It is not at the expense of somebody else. It is for your expense, at your expense. It is for you to discover who you are, regardless of what the other person does. Regardless. I mean, we are humans. We are all the time going to be competitive, and some are more competitive than the others. Some are less competitive, and it also has to do with trauma. I just saw this hair sticking out here. So everything has a reason, and we are going through these difficult times to heal from these places, from these wounds. So all this shift into the matriarchy now is like flipping the page, is going to the other opposite, to the other side. Is going to the other side. So we are still going to be balanced. And again, balance doesn't mean 50-50. Balance can be 60-40, 70-30, but then it's not a balance, right? The ultimate thing that we are looking for, each one of us in their own experience, in their own world, in their own world, is harmony. And harmony is the number one, or the first really point of beginning. Harmony. We started with harmony in the one. We went through the split. We're going through the split. We're in this duality world, and and our desire, we keep wanting our desire to go back to the one. So it's this diamond, right? We start from the one. We start from the one. We split, and we want to go back to the one. But we will always be in this duality, and this duality, the pull and push. We're never in one place. You never stay static on 50% balance or harmony. No, it's fluctuating. It's like the weather. When it's cold, you put a jacket. When it's warm, you take off the jacket. You put a t-shirt, or you don't put anything, or you go bare naked, or whatever that is, right? But this is our body. Is the same. We are we. I am I, and you are you. And so we just use different accessories. So this is the same thing. This is accessorizing ourselves, right? Accessorizing yourself. Rabbi Nachman from Breslev, I remember when I was 12 years old, my mom reminded me that I said this sentence, and I realized that I probably got it from I don't even know, probably from maybe I heard it somewhere, or maybe I got this as a download or something. But then I went and I researched and I looked, and it's Rabbi Nachman from Breslev, and he said, if I'm I because of you, and you are you because of me, then I'm not I and you are not you. However, if I'm I because of me, because of what I express, and you are you because of what you express, regardless of who am I, then I'm I and you are you. And this is a time, back to the head of the top of the program, this is a time to flip the energy. And flipping the energy starts with small tools. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It is not a big thing. Think about when you go to see a movie versus theater. In theater, everything in the facial expression have to be exaggerated, so the person at the last row can see. But in theater, is those little nuances. It's like changing with the eyebrow like that, just like that, right? And you notice that, right? That is the small things, those nuances that we have, that we are able to deploy, we're able to embrace and embed. Just the small things, they cause the major shifts. You don't have to be bombarded with all this information. Small things, a little nudge to our journey, a little nudge to where we are saying everything works, but this is like, what am I doing here? What am I doing a little bit off? And this is part of the work that I do, and I'm happy to be here for any questions or anything that you have. You can DM me, you can send me a message, or ilan at bodysoulsound.com. Mapping our experiences. Everything is an experience. Remember the menu, eating the dish. Now I complete the experience. Trauma, healing, that's the experience, the sub-experiences within each. But mapping our experiences is a very powerful tool. It's a powerful tool because we understand, we can get to this place where we understand what place do we inhabit within ourselves when we make any choice. What place within myself do I inhabit when I make choice A, choice B? Am I in a healed place? If I'm not in a healed place, I'm going to attract the same energy or a variation of that field, a variation of that energy into my life. And so it is to understand. There's no judgment. There's just understanding. Because and that'll be for next week. No, I'm just kidding. But because understanding where we are, giving us the understanding. It is like the sentence now, Seven Ishma. We do, and then we understand. Sometimes we do things that we don't understand why we're doing them. Or it's like the glass that has halfway through filled with water. Is it a half empty? Is it half full? I like to always look at it as a full experience. It's just that some I've seen, and the other half I still don't see it. But it exists. I just don't see it yet. An example. If you're coming to me and I live in a 18-story building, and you are driving to come see me, you're welcome, coffee, tea, popcorn, and you are 10 blocks away, and you're saying, Ilan, I know this route. 5 minutes, I'm at your place. Now I'm at the 18th building. I'm looking downstairs. I'm looking down from the porch, and I see that all these 3-block section has been closed by the city because of a major pipe leak and all this kind of stuff. So the roads are closed. So to get to my section of the building, I actually would have to turn around and go around a huge several mile section to come here, right? So you don't see that yet because you are 10 blocks away. The question is, the fact that you did not see that, does that mean that it did not happen? It happened. You just didn't see it yet. You didn't arrive to my section to see that the roads are closed, and then you allow them and go turn around. That's exactly the same thing. Let's see, Tamara. This is always... Well, that's true. It's half full. If that's the positive way of looking at it, of course, it is half full. And think about that the glass is always full. Always. It's just that half we don't see it. Now, yes, we can look at it as a half full or a half empty, but which one is going to be the beneficial for us, the half full? Even more than that, if I know that the glass is always full, I just don't understand certain things. Then the yoke of what is happening in the world doesn't have to fall on my shoulders. The yoke of what's happening in the world doesn't have to fall on my shoulders, because I know that everything is happening for the good of my reason, and all I have to do is to show up and intentionalize, having our intention. So it is an hour already. Wow, when I talk, it goes fast. And so it is wonderful to have you here. Tamara, thank you for the wonderful comments that you have here, and putting what you think about the water. And it's really interesting. Water, Tamara was talking about the water, that water has memory. That's right. We don't see the outcome yet. Water has memory. Professor Masuro Emoto, a Japanese professor, who took an experiment with water, showed that when he took 2 groups of water, one he just gave good words, said good words and praise and love words, and to the other one he just trashy words and negative and curses. The first group of water that received the positive reinforcement, the encouragement of light to shine upon it, showed its beauty to the world. It manifested into beautiful geometrical shapes. The other group that was bullied just became dark splats, just dark matter of nothing. So think about that. If we are more than 90% water within us, and we talk to ourselves and we judge ourselves the way that we talk to ourselves when we judge ourselves. Oh, how stupid I was that I didn't see that. Oh, how could I have done that? Oh, why didn't I do this? And why didn't I do this? And your mother, right? How many times do we do that? Or have we done that? Right? So when we talk to ourselves like that, what kind of thing I'm doing in the water structure and the water composition in my body? What am I inhabiting? I'm inhabiting beautiful geometrical shapes or just brown splats. So with that, I want to leave you with an encouragement of being gentle with yourself by seeing what happened as a lesson, and that what happened a year ago, 5 years ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, happened with the eyes that you have, with the perception that you had back then, not today. Today, you see it and you understand it. You wouldn't do it again, right? Because now you understand it. But back then you didn't understand it. So why are you beating yourself up? If you beat yourself up, you're going to be consequences based on the speech and the language that you speak. That's the power of the word, the power of our voice, the power of our intention behind the voice, and important to say what we want, and so we can hear it, so we can hear the voice coming back, so we can hear the power of the frequency returning to our ear. The speaking is the masculine, the hearing is the feminine, is the influencing, and the receiving. But the receiving is also influencing. If we take the Star of David, upside down, the upside down triangle is the masculine, is the influencer. The straight triangle is the feminine, is the receiver. But the receiver is also the influencer that creates the influencer to give back to the receiver. So we can talk about this again. I encourage you to take your relational field to yourself. How do you feel about yourself? What place you are within yourself? To go see and look at those places where you judge yourself based on what happened, and see where you can change that perception, where you can start saying, what happened. I know I'm not there. Thank you for being there. But I can't say how stupid I was. Well, if you're comparing yourself to today and you're telling yourself that you're stupid, or you're telling yourself that you are, how could you not see that? Then you're creating that effect that keeps you in the sense of, I'm not good enough. And that's a big ball of snow that becomes very, 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 very big. This is part of the work that I do with you, that I do with whoever is coming, is to map our experiences, to understand the power of our words, to understand the power of our voice, to understand the power that we have as creators. So, with that said, third eye chakra, to help us shift our attention, shift our perception to this place of accepting yourself, accepting ourselves exactly the way we are. And you are here exactly because you have to be here. You're at the right time, at the right moment, with the right lessons and the right teachers. Thank you for being here. This is a blessing to be here. Abracadabra, create what you speak. Instagram is Body Soul Sound. Our web is bodysoulsound.com. If you're on Facebook, then you are here. If you're on my YouTube, you're here. And if you have any questions, I would love to answer, to have a conversation, to start a conversation. And we can start a conversation if you are here if you want to share things that you've judged yourself, matters and times and things that you judge yourself based on certain experiences that affected how you see yourself. Have a wonderful week. I'm iLan Azoulai. Lovely to be here. Thank you. Talk to you soon.